I listened to new music from this year whole week in preparation for this episode. Whole week I'm listening. All I want to hear what I put.
A woman came up from Africa to feel out the music over here.
I couldn't do it.
On a music exploration, she countries and she to soca land. Buffy was on hand to play, she a jam as a DJ. She take over piano and she balling. I want it all the time. I want it all the time.
Make me feel the wine.
I want it all the time. I want it, I want it. I present myself at the airport to take up my job as an escort.
As a what, Johnny?
See where she black and beautiful. Say we are moving beautiful. The gender who say I took her down there for some tassa. She need Indian troll drum and bishop fever. Oh, I want it all the time. I want it all the time.
Make me feel the wine.
I want it all the time.
I want it, I want it. Welcome to episode 168 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. I told you I listened to new music whole week last week, you know. I say, it's only have about 3 weeks for this carnival, right? Welcome to everybody who come in for carnival and all who is to come. By now, I tell you I'm not playing mass, but by now it would have a tune or two that would have forced me to into buying a costume and buy Fete ticket, right? The only Fete ticket I have is for Fete or custom going to. I listen to all the music it have. I listen to Private Ryan, Soca Starter, Salute Private Ryan. I listen to all kind of things and I'm not hearing nothing really. Salute to Kaiso Kern, a man who know more Kaiso than me and know the music more than me. I see he posts up something this week saying, talking about the new music. I ain't sure. But again, I listen whole week and all I know what I come up with.
Better wake up, I need a jet plane to take me non-stop.
I can't stay
in New York City when there's sunshine and pan in my country. Lions is the place with the jamming, with Calian and Charlie's roots clashing. Everyone happy partying,
and I'm freezing in Brooklyn.
Lauren, don't cry, I'm leaving. I can't miss this jamming. With all and steel band beating and woman background shaking. If the bug bites your baby, then you could come and join me inside Caterry steel band, jamming with some man woman. Boom 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 boom, boom 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 boom, boom 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 boom. Lauren, girl, take it easy. I don't mean to hurt you, baby. The coldness making me shiver.
shaking. When the bug bite your baby, then you could come and join me inside Catelli Steel Band, jamming with some man, woman. Whole week I listen. What do you hear I come up with?
Yeah. Tasha Panday. Say she only got one life. Can't stay on the job site. Make a memory for a lifetime that could last. Yeah, come on baby. Knock a glass with two eyes. She don't catch feelings, she catch flights. So she coming back to the sunshine paradise. Lauren saying cold out in New York City. Say she coming home cause she must start to play. Lauren saying cold out in New York City. Say she coming home cause she must start to play. If you hear she ballin', I need a little runaway. Lauren coming home for carnival, I need a little runaway. This woman not bad, she party bag, I need a little runaway. She tell her she friend and family, I need a little runaway. If you see Lauren, everywhere she go, what she whine and rollin'. Every video that in she phone, is she whine and rollin'. All over the road, what she whine and rollin'. The rhythm hitting she soul, what she whine and rollin'. She come out for a good time, say a prayer and she outside, because the season comes so fast. Oh yeah, and for the ones who can be here, raise your glasses in the air. Celebrate for the present, not the past. Yeah, Lauren saying cold out in New York City. Say she coming home cause she must start to play. Lauren saying cold out in New York City. Say she coming home cause she must start to play. If you hear she ballin', I need a little runaway. Lauren coming home for carnival, I need a little runaway. This woman not bad, she party bag,
I need a little runaway. I'm feeling to run away. Every time I listen now again, the point I'm trying to make here, right, is of course Michael Teja. Salute to Michael Teja, legendary, young legend, right? And I listen to way too much music this week, right? How the week was? Let me start there, right? Before I jump into me. A matter of fact, I have one more song to play just because I can.
Johnny, I come inside of this party. I pay me money to get on wassy. So why the hell you holding me damn hand? I must be tell you I looking for man. Boy, let me tell you flat, I ain't a girl like that. I does always behave myself. But when I hear music play, I just need to break away. I don't intend to stay on the shelf.
Come let me go and dance. I'm just feeling too bright. We go wind up this step till I so get wet.
I'm a music lover, having soca fever. This music inside me, driving me crazy.
Go and dance. I'm just feeling too bright. We go wind up this step.
Johnny,
Sorry about that. I just feel to play that song, right? I have no relevance to anything I want to talk about, anything I'm about to say, right? But all the week was. First week of the year, only get through 51 more to go. Well done. I hope you accomplished something. Whatever weight loss goal you set, I hope you get that. Whatever money you want to save in the first week, I hope you get through that. All your New Year's resolutions come true. Now, in listening to music this year and listening to the complaints, I come up with a conclusion, right? I realized that with artists, right? When you see Carnival is only about 3 weeks long, which this Carnival is, right? I always mark Carnival by my birthday. Anytime Carnival is before my birthday, we in trouble. We have a short season, right? Some small fed gonna get squeezed out. Somebody had to feel something. Because when it's only a 6 weekend in the whole Carnival, and it have hundreds of fete to happen. Some fete ain't gonna happen, right? And some fete go happen empty. So everybody fighting up. But as an artist, when you're putting out music, right? You remember that every year you're listening to probably hundreds of different rhythm, hundreds of different concepts. If you're using a writer, how much song you might record songs that you never put out, right? Many artists. Here's a lot after artists pass away with unreleased music that they didn't put out at all. It is my belief, after listening to everything that happened this year, that when the season's short and it's only about 6 weeks worth of carnival, I think artists is recycling tune what they refused before. Right? So when you know the season long and you're going to get booked for 100 out of the 1,000 events, you're putting out your best material, you're putting out what's there. In a short season, when your name is Voice or who's the other people who getting booked for every single fete? So when your name is Voice or Kes, well, Marshall out this season, right? The top tier people. Voice, Kes, Patrice, Destra. It is my belief that these people going back through the thing and they say, hey, what's going on, eh? The maximum return on this carnival in 6 weekends at $20,000 a weekend is $120,000. The way my mortgage and things set up, me spending a cent this carnival. I'm not sending a black cent in the studio. I'm not spending a black cent recording nothing. I'm not paying no writers for nothing. I'm going back in my Rolodex of old tune that I did not use and I did not want to use and it wasn't good enough. And this was a road march year and this year was my 10th anniversary, so I had to come big. And I taken out that tune what was just good enough. It's a song. It's a song. You're taking out something what just good enough and you're putting it out as is. So look to everybody who come with tune now. I see people complaining that Voice singing the same tune every year. I see the debate going on about that. And the same song, when people talking about the same song, right? There are a few things that make the same song. What is this you're calling the same song? Is it the same concept you're singing about? Well, this year, full of the same concept, you know. I want all you to listen for yourself. I don't say it's me. I don't want to be that person either who is coming and promote old school soca and old school kaiso and what the foundation of the thing, and then hate on the youth. I don't think I'm that. Am I turning into that guy? I don't think I'm that guy. I like music that come out every year, right? But when you look at the same concept, I listened to songs this year and I could tell you, to the number, almost all of them is about how much rum I beat and how much rum on my face and how much rum I drink. So when they say the same concept, Voice singing every year, what are they trying to say? All Voices sing about is rum? Well, I want to tell you, in the last 3-4 years, he getting some success with them rum tuners, so me know if you go move from that at all. And when you say same song, what it's sounding like the same chord progressions and things. I'm feeling like people write it. I feeling like people write. When I hear Voice, it's hard to distinguish what Voice sing last year from the year before that. And again, when you have a winning formula, you're probably not going to change it. I remember people was vexed with Sean Winchester time when he was singing all kind of tune about iron. But if iron working for you, no pun intended, if iron working for you, maybe you go stick to song about iron. But I tell you, and outside of Voice, I'm moving past. I mean, Voice is legendary. It's hard to dispute anything that Voice doing, and Voice putting out top quality music every single year. Whether you feel like it's sung in the same or it had the same feel, so it really don't matter. Voice going to put out top tier music all the time, which he's done this year again. But the music in general this year, like all of it is about rum, and that's why I pick out a few songs this morning. I'll play from yesteryear. Because you would notice that these songs not specifically referencing putting on your makeup for Carnival morning and getting in your section on Carnival day and getting your costume and I come in Trinidad to pick up my thing and I want to line up in a bass camp. And some of these songs this year are so literal. It's no kind of story, nothing hooking you. So when the few songs that I play so far, right, and I have a few more lineup from this year as well as from yesterday, you would notice a certain theme. Salute to Mikel Tesha. Mikel Tesha take that Lorraine concept and refix it and remix it, and he make himself a song that's going to last for 1,000,000 years, right? That song going to be around for a long time because the concept behind Lorraine. And also, Johnny, he say, a woman come down from Africa. So the idea of either a foreigner coming for Carnival, it is in plenty songs from all the years going on. That is a concept, right? You could use that as a concept and build a song around it, right? But the thing about it is because it's such a talked about concept in soca and calypso already, You go have to come good for the tune to come out and rise to the top. The fact that Mikel Teja take a classic like that and put his own spin on it and use the same name Lauren and everything for a concept, because a foreigner come to Carnival for the first time, they beat out that concept to death. You gotta come good. A Trini who living abroad who had to come home, right? A Trini who had to come home. So you went abroad and study, you never come back, you overstay your visa, you're living out there now, you know what I mean? Your visa expire, you can't come home. You're married in for green card. These are common concepts, you know what I mean? This is very, very Trinidadian. So when you're singing about somebody who out there facing the cold, February kind of cold, and they getting to come home for Carnival, them songs and them done like many, many songs. That's been done 100,000 times. But if you find the right concept and the right groove and the right way to relate that to people, you're onto something. So when you hear explainers sing about Lorraine, and that is the theme song for people all my age and things still. The Lorraine would have been long before we age start to fet and go away to come back and thing, right? But the people who studying abroad and who overstay the time and who married in for green card, they need a new anthem. They can't depend on Lorraine all their life, right? And Mikel Teja come and get them a new anthem for that. So when you see people who is 20, 21 years old who going out there and facing that cold, everything brand new to you when you do it, and the world starts when you're born. So with them feeling like them is the first batch of people went away and overstayed their time, and now getting a chance to come back for Carnival after they married and so on, they have an anthem that Mikel Teja song well put together. I want to get a little glimpse into the youth bad, and I want to I want to salute to the musical director of this podcast, Miss Stacey Shepherd. Well, my name is Villarella. My name is Villarella. I don't put Shepherd Bob on people prematurely, right? But the reality is that she been telling me about Mikel Teja for a while. And it's take me a while. It's take me a little bit of again, if you give me the chance, I will go and sing, I will listen to old school music all the time. You know what I mean? But she's been talking about Mikel Teja and how bad he is for some time. And you see this little tune, Runaway? That song is going to last forever. And I'm not sure that people, the artists and them, too interested in forever music when the Carnival is only 6 weeks. I feel what we getting is throwaway song. We getting rinse and repeat, wash over. You see that? That didn't work last year. So rinse off that and dust off that like brand new. Send it by a producer, let him touch it up so that it's song in like 2024. You know what I mean? I might have had that since about 2012, 2013. But we rinse off that and bait off that like brand new and play that for them. I want to play for you a little slice of Mikel Teja acoustic version of this song, just so you understand how bad this song is. Before we get into the thing for the week, right?
Say she only got one life, can't stay on the job site. Make a memory for a lifetime that go last. Come on baby, knock a glass with 2 eyes. She don't get feeling, she get flight. So she coming back to the sunshine paradise. Lauren say it cold out in New York City. Say she coming home cause she must have to pay. Lauren say it cold out in New York City. Say she coming home cause she must have to pay. If you hear she ballin', I need a run away. Lauren coming home for Carnival, I need a run away. This woman done pack she party back, I need a run away. She tell her she friend and family, I need a run away. If you see Lauren everywhere she go, watch she whine and rollin'. Every video that in she phone is she whine and rollin'. All over the road, watch she whine and rollin'. When the rhythm it in she.
Listen, I didn't realize it would have stopped so abrupt. I think, did I do the wrong thing? Nah, it stopped abrupt. Salute to Mikel Teja again. I want you to listen to it. The chord progression more in keeping with today's music. The lyrics, he changed up. Well, he didn't change up the lyrics. It's a different song, right? I don't want to make it sound like he make over Lauren. He just make a modern version of the song. The only thing he put in is Lauren and the concept of coming home from New York, right? But the chord progression and thing more in keeping with today's soca. The selfie in your phone and all of it, just wine and rolling. What you say, one life to live and I live in it. Those are things that is more modern sayings than Catelli Steel Band and All Stars beating, right? So I understand what I'm saying. I hope I'm making some kind of sense. But again, forever music. That song going to last forever and ever and ever. Amen, right? Now, another man I want to highlight here is a man who, he not necessarily looking for old concepts to put into songs, right? Because, I mean, well, I don't want to make it song bad, but he's an old concept himself. One of the old schoolers who remain modern for about the last 40 years in soca music. And one thing you could guarantee is that every carnival, because carnival can make on Michael Teja alone, you know, we need more good music for fair ticket to sell and costume to sell and everything. You know what I mean? The carnival is an economy, you know, you can't just put the wash over and the throwaway music in this year and whatever happen. But one man you could depend on to sing music that is around a 40-year-old lifestyle is the great Farmer Nappy.
Troubles may come, but I'm a praying soul. Devil just try, but he just never learn. So much on my mind, if I tell you, just look at me smile. When them do me wrong, I do them right. I'm just a man who does pray at night. How I living better than them. How I looking
better than them.
How I feeling better than them. No problems. If you see me jumping up to the ceiling, my hand them high. Oh Lord, what I'm feeling. This peace of mind. Jumping up to the ceiling, my hand them high. Oh Lord, what I'm feeling. This peace of mind. Feeling real good. Come on. This is the mood I feeling real good. Nothing can change the groove I feeling real good. Them can change the mood I feeling real good. Have some people allergic to happy, good over evil.
Yes.
Don't red eye nobody, because God alone know the things we face in this life. Karma real, so watch every step we take. Stay on the right side. Father no. Forgive them, they don't know better. Father no. Useless soul. When them do me wrong, I do them right. I'm just a man who does pray at night. How I live better than you. How I looking.
I'm looking better than you.
How I feeling.
I'm feeling better than you. Better than you. Hey, I know realize about 20 minutes past me. You said nothing for the episode. You know, all you good, all you alright, all you understand what I'm saying about the new music. Great. We will continue to stick with the new music because, again, I want to be fair to people because this is only the second week in January. So I don't think it's fair to trash the whole season yet. You know, men go wait, but the expectation, I watching how much fets passing already. Soca and Mocha gone, Nyla Blackman, Soca gone, Tribe Ice gone. Fets coming fast and furious. And I'm looking at the performances in the feds. The big boys are still big boys, right? Patrice Roberts is a big boy. You understand? Big boys. So I want to start by saying I'm very, very happy to see Patrice Roberts performing. Very, very happy. I was wondering about that a couple of weeks ago. The passing of Ricardo Drew, salute to the great Ricardo Drew, and you're hearing now how much of an impact he had on artists throughout the industry. And seeing Patrice Roberts on stage in Soca and Mocha was a good thing to see. And I was wondering about that, and I was wondering about you know your work, and people is grieved so differently. It's hard to think that she would just take a carnival off. And so said, so done. When she was on stage, that stage seemed to be a form of therapy for her and her audience right there with her. Salute to the audience in Soca and Mocha. I'd like to talk about the school fete now. I've tell a little about that. It's this Trinity thing and the St. Mary's thing. Fatima Old Boys Association. We need to step it up. Everybody who went Fatima, we need to amp up the level of we fete so that we, as talked about, as Soca and Mocha and St. Mary's fete, at least on this podcast, right? But salute to the audience in Soca and Mocha who stand up there with Patrice, and it's almost like they're there to help her. They're there to support her. It's something else, you know. Artists become such a part of your life. And I might not understand, or we might not understand how much the audience becomes a part of our artist's life. Because I hear Patrice Roberts talking on that stage, and something that she says stood out so much to everybody. I saw Whitney Husbands posting about it as well, where she said that, you know, when you want something so bad and it's not for you, God just take it away permanently. You know, that's a heavy, heavy, heavy statement. You know, that is not. She said God has taken it away totally, and that. Just to say them words, you could see how emotional she was. You could see the tears wiping away. And I was telling you about that song she sings, so prophetic in a way. And it'll be good to see her continue to perform through the carnival, through all this pain. And if that is the way you're releasing your pain and dealing with your grief, it's great to see that the audience there to be a part of it with you. You know what I mean? Our artist is... I remember I had a girlfriend back in the days who used to talk about our tragic experience in her life and how much Buju helped her through that experience. Like, she just used to listen to Buju over and over to help her get, cope with it, basically. And all of us have stories like that about artists or particular songs that we use. I always talk about Sizzler, Can't Keep a Good Man Down. Nobody was trying to keep me down. When I think about it, right? I was in UE. My parents was paying for everything. But it was a hard journey. And every exam, I used to play this. You know, I can't keep a good man down loud over and over. Like, so if you're going into the exam, like if the examiner trying to do me something, it's me who is studying, you know, but the music takes us through the ups and downs in our lives. And sometimes we could mark our own journey in life through music. Well, the music so far, we got to skip to it. I hope you ain't going through nothing in 2024. Yeah, you're going to need soca for, but because they're looking good so far. But again, the audience seemed to be there with Patrice and part of her journey throughout this. And I saw the funeral this week. You know, if anybody had tell me, right, last year that Basdeo, Panday and Ricardo Drew would have a funeral the same day, I would have said, but it's mad people talking to me. Mad people. How you gonna dream this? And Hochoy Charles buried in the same week. This is the most random sort of thing I ever see to start 2024. But I saw the funeral. The funeral was, of course, extremely sad. 38 years old. Many artists were there. I saw Destra paying tribute. Destra sing a song in the, I believe is and he watches over me. Go and listen to Destra, right? Don't listen to me, but Destra singing that funeral. Boy, Destra is something else. Destra is an artist and a half. And she was posting about the grief with it. I saw Skinny Fabulous talking about Ricardo Drew calling him and him wanting to leave the industry and, you know, kind of walk away from it all when he wasn't getting the recognition or he wasn't getting where he needed to be in the industry. Is just due. And, of course, you see Patrice Roberts there, his mother. When you watch Ricardo Drew's mother, is such a young woman to be grieving so for your son. That is not an easy thing. That it's easy at all. But again, talking about unreleased music, there was a song that Ricardo Drew had sang in 2016 that they played at his funeral. And it was very, very moving. I didn't want to kill the mood of the thing and get everybody, you know, sad mood. But so I wouldn't play it. But the song was basically about, don't cry for me when I pass away. You know what I mean? And I hope that they release the song this year because the song is a nice song. But you don't know, sometimes you wonder what it is an artist or producer or the team hearing that telling them, okay. I always wonder about this. Right? Like, I have a song, it complete. And I say, nah, don't release that. You know, like Marshall had spoken about Like a Boss, which is obviously a very good song. That's one of the biggest songs he ever sang, right? And he said he had that song about 3 or 4 years. And he decided not to put it out, right? So I guess when you have a gem, your best bet is to keep your gem for keep your gem for when Carnival is all about August. So when you see Ash Wednesdays in the middle of August, you keep your gem for then so that you could maximize your performances and maximize the length that a good tune could go. And when you have a short season, you don't put it out. But this song was so prophetic that maybe you don't want to just, maybe you say, listen, I ain't want to put no song calling death on myself. I'm too young to put out a song like this. Maybe my legacy ain't reach where I wanted to reach yet. But they played it in the funeral and it was sad to listen to. And he did say that his voice will live on and so on. And so said, so done. So again, condolences to everybody in that family and the whole soca fraternity basically on the passing of Ricardo Drew. Buried, 38 years old, something else. And in the same week, I see Hochoy Charles buried. So Hochoy Charles would have been the first, I see controversy about this too, strange enough, where Hochoy Charles was the first chief secretary of the THA, which is true. I don't understand why people fight in this battle. The first man in charge of the Tobago House Assembly was A.N.R. Robinson, Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson. Remember that guy? But it wasn't called the chief secretary at the time, I believe. So Hochoy Charles was in fact the first chief sec of the THA, and somebody who's revered in Tobago. And the first time I ever hear talk about Tobago being separate from Trinidad, you know, as I say, the world starts when you're born, you know. So I never realized this thing must be going on long before I come here. I think it's all brand new, but the first person I ever hear talk about independent self-governance for Tobago was really Hochoy Charles, and that he's an embodiment of that Tobagonian spirit and Tobagonian pride. And I'll never forget bouncing up some Tobagonians in Sweden. We had gone for the World Cup, right? Not in Sweden, in Germany. After the Sweden game, or some training somewhere in Germany, yes, and I was talking to them. And of course, they in red jerseys. So for me, I talking to them and saying, I say, so what part of Trinidad are you from? And the man say, me from Trinidad. So now I find it strange that he wearing that red jersey. I was like, well, where you from? He's like, Tobago. And boy, I could have stooped. I was like, you know what I mean? What the hell are you talking about? But so I didn't realize how much of a source of pride it was for a Tobagonian. That is a Tobagonian. Is that so? The idea that you collectively call all of we Trinis or Trinidadians. That was the first time I was faced with that concept. I was 26 years old at that time, but the first time I faced with the concept that okay, identity thing going on here between Trinidad and Tobago. But Hochoy Charles was one of the first people who I would have heard that from back in the day. So, of course, again, state funeral and a sad day for all Tobagonians, and you know. It's a thing you're not supposed to laugh at in this life, right? You mustn't laugh at. You mustn't take serious thing and make joke, right? I must always try and remember that. But I couldn't help but watch how Orville London, you know, there's a viewing of the body and thing for people like this, right? When you have statesman, you have a state funeral and so on. You have a viewing of the body, and then when you see Orville London going to view Hochoy Charles, that's gonna be a big thing, right? Of course, news and thing. I want to tell all you. Orville London take the slightest and quickest glimpse at Hochoy Charles, almost like if he wants somebody roping me, like if he see himself going in, you know what I mean? He say just take a little peep quick and keep it pushing. Don't hang around and linger too long. They might call you, you know what I mean? So salute Orville London and condolences to everybody who's mourning that's Hochoy Charles. And of course the big one, the boss himself, you know what I mean? The most revered, I had to call him the most revered, you know. The great Basdeo Panday. Presman was in a quandary. Presman don't know how to act. And again, the whole country, by extension, was shocked, I would say, by the passing of Basdeo Panday, 90 years old. So, I mean, hard to shock people at 90 years old if you pass, right? But he was so... The last times you see outside the family, of course, you know what I mean? You're seeing somebody who's young and strong and vibrant and had a little talk and pick on and thing. You see him. Everybody love Panday. We should make that in our series, you know? And... we heard like a little article or little rumblings that just before Christmas they had fly him out, he wasn't too well, and the surgery. There's nothing. You're not thinking that is the end. You're thinking that is a standard thing for them fellas. Them fellas just fly out, get a medical care, and come back. But sad news, first day of the year in 2024, and the great Basdeo Panday passed away. So condolences to his family, everybody in the country, all the supporters of Panday, the UNC. And anybody who was around to see the shift of the opinion about Basdeo Panday from when he was there, from when he was 96 to 2000, somewhere like that, to what he is today. And it's telling a story, right? Because sometimes you just have to outlive certain things, you know, because I heard the tributes pouring out to Panday and everybody. Like I see Hoppy and them posting him and Lara, you know, everybody have a picture of Panday and a moment with him and the words he would say. If you're fighting a lion and you feel sorry for the lion and a tiger, and, you know what I mean? He known for these kind of things. One of the things that I will never forget about Panday was when he had lost the election. And this man come out in a red beret to talk to the dwindling crowd in Rienzi complex at the time and tell everybody stand tall. And he is a real politician, statesman when he needs to be, true Trini, pickong and politician when he needs to be. And he go on to meet his next press partner Manning, who I sure can't playing up there, and they could laugh and talk about old times. You know what I mean? I did see, it's funny to see, or not even funny, but uncanny, like it's unsettling sometimes, watching interviews with Michaela Panday or watching her talk to the press, because so much, not just her voice, But her mannerisms look like Panday so much. I really shouldn't say that about my daughter. She looked just like him. It's the most obvious thing, but it's funny to see like the way she's put her mouth and the whole face when she's trying to make a point. And like Panday theatrics was something else. Panday was not just an orator. Manning was an orator, right? When you see Manning go up on a podium to talk, one of the most impressive things, and you know, as a man who like to talk, I like people who like to talk, right? So whether I agree with Manning or Panday and their dogma or whatever they come to talk about, I admired both of them in terms of the way they would speak on a podium. But it was two whole different things, eh? Manning would never look down at piece of paper. I don't know if he had piece of paper there at all. And he would talk for hours straight without any reference or any. That is impressive to me, and that is very, very hard to do. And it didn't seem as though he was somebody who was trying to memorize a speech. He was going to the flow of things. If a man says something in the crowd or something funny, he had to be quick enough to deal with that, blah, blah, and he come back to his message, and he know how to get a crowd moving. When you see Manning on a podium in what you call the place, Eddie Hart, and he say, we go beat them in the east, we go beat them in the west. And he had, boy, listen, people in a frenzy. And he always used to say, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Real statesman, you know, the real McCoy. Panday was different. Panday always had a piece of paper in front of him. If you notice when he paid, like he can't remember what he come to say at all. He always had things shuffling through when he comes to talk. But the nice thing about him is he would shuffle through, glimpse down at something, and then go for a solid 10-15 minutes. And his punchline after Panday know how to talk to people and get people moving. And his whole way of speaking and everything was so theatrical. His whole body was involved when he come to make a political speech or a statement. Or even at the times where people would have been vexed with him, because I saw an article coming out. I'll read an article about him in a little bit. But he had one time when he called the teachers and them criminal for I think they was protesting for more money, and he called them criminals while he was prime minister. That's a hell of a statement to make. But it's the way he put his whole face and his mouth to say criminals. They're criminals. You know what I mean? He had a style, you know. He had a style. And when Michaela talking, the way she fixed her mouth and the way she say things, and even the way she paused in between a question and a response is so much like Basdeo Panday. That is something to see. And I feel for them, you know, because you could see the pain on her and her sisters and his wife as well. You could see that is a shock for them. As old as he was and thing, as a man who's so sprite, he ain't expecting that you're going for surgery or anything like that or medical care, and then all of a sudden 2024 is no Baz again, no more Panday. Strange times, you know what I mean? Panday and Ricardo Drew burying the same day, or funeral is the same day. So again, condolences to everybody and the passing of Panday. And just going back to that, like, I saw the reporters. It makes me wonder sometimes, like, what happened to the reporters. I see Express take themselves out completely. Because when Panday, they had his body on display in Napa first, and then they did it in Sapa for the public. And then they had the funeral, right? So the general public could walk through and see. And I saw many people talking about how much of an impact Panday had on them personally. As men who was working currently 1975 Limited as just supporters. One man said he was on the brink. He wanted to come out of this life. And Panday talked to him about fighting on and care. You know what I mean? And with so many people there to show their respect, of course, when the family come, you want to hear from the family. So you had to interview Michaela Panday. And keep in mind that she flirts with the politics a little bit, but I don't know if she's staying or if she's going or if that's something that she wants to do, because she ebb and flow with that for some time. So now this is not a statesman you're asking this question. You're not asking Rowlers or one of them a question that is generic, and he have a generic prepared answer about a prime minister, right? Remember that this is a man's daughter who grappling and trying to deal with this real time that you're asking questions. I just wonder sometimes if people and like reporters taking this into consideration, because a reporter asked her, well, on the passing of Prime Minister Basdeo Panday, how do you feel, Michaela? It's like, this is a real question. And then, I mean, just like her father, she paused her five, she was quick on her feet, she think, and she answered the question. Next question. So when everybody going home and you going to bed at night, what you feel? I was like, what's going on? Why, I don't understand that. That is a question you are. And I've seen it more and more, because it's not just in funeral for a public figure or statesman like Basdeo Panday. I saw it with somebody who lost their parents or who lost their child. Like, some of these questions And I was glad to see whether it was the Express or CNC3, whichever official media group had posted it on their Instagram, which to me they should not post. They made it clear that their reporter did not ask those questions. And it's a funny time in this social media era, you know, because we're not depending on credible sources or media houses or anything to be media. These days, pretty much anybody could be media. Anybody could walk up with a phone or a mic, or anybody could walk up and ask the questions, when in the past it would only be credible people to do these things. So I think somewhere in the mix of trying to get a headline and trying to be first to run a story, we must never forget that we're dealing with real people who having a real issue and a very, very vulnerable human moment when they're losing your father. Like, why would you ask those kind of questions? And I find sometimes that even the more senior of people around there. So you have somebody like me, let me say, who have a podcast, I looking for something sensational, and I push a mic and I ask a question like that. I find the CNC3, the Express, the Guardian, the seasoned journalists should put a stop to that right then and there. Always remember a photographer by the name of John Babb. I want to say it's John Babb. I hope I had that right. I feel like I have it wrong. But when I was doing TriniSongs.com, a website we used to have that was covering the entertainment scene, I always remember taking pictures. You know what I mean? Them days I looking for looseness and fat and taking pictures of that. And I remember him like almost nudging me. And he's like, what are you doing that for? What are you taking that picture to do? I was a young fella then. I didn't understand at the time, but I appreciated the fact that they had somebody there who was senior and seeing a bigger picture than me, who was able to pull up my socks at the time and tell me, like, listen, what is that for? And that time, me with social media, yes, you know, that I know when I put up that picture, my album go and sell off, you know, so it's equivalent of clicks and likes and stuff at that time. But it's nice to have somebody who could tell you, hey, come on, you know. So hopefully those other reporters could put a stop to that. But the wider conversation to have a post the passing of Basdeo Panday, and even people like Hochoy Charles, is this this crowd that came out for Panday and the amount of people who were there. You saw when he went when they went to do final rites, people were already there waiting to receive him. You know what I mean? That is something else. But that is not the general sentiment I remember that people had for Panday back in the day. I don't know if people remember. So, you know, the idea is like sometimes if you live long enough, there's a pity Manning ain't get to live long enough, you know. Because people had hated Manning at one point in time in this country, right? you wonder sometimes, like, if you live and you get old enough, if people will just like you for who you are. Once you come out of the battle and the we versus them and the I don't like them and everything they do is wrong and everything we do is right. Once you come out of that, can you go from complete vilification to be somebody of reverence who people look back at? Because I hear a man say, well, I work currently in 1975 Limited and I said, Panday do so much for me. And I was like, what? This is the same man. I only wanted to half kill. I only wanted to half kill him for that same issue on closing down Carney, so and losing the election with that whole same stance, all things. So it makes you wonder, like, can you really hang around long enough? They say either can hang around long enough to become a hero or a villain, and I feel like that is the case with Panday. But it's nice to see that he got his hero's send-off, well-deserved, former Prime Minister. I don't think there was any question about whether there was going to be a state funeral and thing. And he was a big one, you know what I mean? Loved by many. I mean, loved to the point where I like, as a man trying to figure out, as bad as his soca is, like what fets are going on, them kind of thing. And the way thing going with me these days, I'm trying to see how I could get in fet for no money, right? If I could get complimentaries. This podcast had to start to do something for me now, you know. I'm starting to reach a point where this thing had to start to pay for itself. And one of the ways it could pay for itself is that anybody who might be out there listening, who throws fets and so on, or have good little links in places, could send 2 tickets, let me and wife go and shake a leg, you know what I mean? What happened? I looking for free net? Well, maybe not, right? But within all the trying not to pay for fet, I could storm a fet to see Michael Teja. Or, you know what I mean? Somebody who I could storm a fet and see Farmer. In other words, I want to storm to see people who live in. I never know people is storming to see people with dead. Like, my father is always telling me about this joke about a man in the country. You know what I mean? They have a wake and thing. The man come in here. He say, hey, good day. Is here the dead living? So Karen Nunez, what was she name? The News and Truth. Karen Nunez Texeira is seen making a complete fool of herself, if I could say so myself. That is real making a fool of yourself, right? You didn't get invited to the funeral. Now, I want to remind you, about 15 minutes ago, I said that the body was there for viewing in the public domain in Napa, and then it was there for the public domain in Sapa, right? Karen Nunez Texeira is an ex-politician. What she is? She had her own party the other day. I think she was part of Gary Griffith. Was she with Gary Griffith at that point in the NTA? I don't know what she is and what she's doing now, but she's not in the parliament. She's not nowhere near. She's a senator. What she's doing? What are you doing for a living? You take your retirement money. I could say that. Did she take her retirement money before CMB closed down? Did she? I can't remember. You know what I mean? I should say allegedly. And now you upset with the world that you didn't get invited to a funeral. A funeral, right? Let me put this in perspective. Don't forget the Napa and the Sapa and all these buildings. You do the equivalent. It's like you storm All Saints Church because you can't get in a yard for a funeral. What are we doing? If you really was interested in paying respects to Panday, and it was not about you and it was about Basdeo Panday and what he meant to you and all the other platitudes you want to come and talk about, there was public viewings for people like me and you. So Karen is in the public, right? We is the public. If we wanted to see Basdeo Panday, we go and see Basdeo Panday on the days where the thing open to everybody. If you really wanted to see him and pay respect. What about this? You had to make into a spectacle and make a fool. That is real making a fool of yourself. And I want to say that every itis it have, because you from Panday, you know what I mean? If he's 90, you're headed. Will you go and jump in fence and think that your old bones and build for this? If you did land hard, Karen, suppose you land heavy. Let me don't talk to Karen and them age, right? Let me talk to people we age. When last year jump off or something? The other day, it had a little fire in the community, right? So I climb up a wall to see where it is happening. And then I do what I would have do long time, where I swing down my hand, I swing my foot, and I drop down. I want to tell Oli I nearly land in hell. The hardness I hit the ground with, I nearly went. I'm looking for fire up, so I nearly find fire down. So I couldn't believe how hard I land. Every muscle in my bone get rattled. I want to know if Karen did land hard. You're brittle. Your bones is brittle. At this age and stage, you cannot be jumping off. All you ever see is fence by Sapa. The security now, who I'm sure would have advised her, Karen, don't do this. Don't jump the fence. I guarantee you, I could bet money the security say, car, don't do it, car. Don't do it. Nothing about this ain't go end well. And I went Stalin funeral, right? Stalin funeral was in Napa. It had nothing in me, although I wanted to storm it, to be honest. But you could have walked in the yard freely, right? Nobody wasn't stopping you from walking in the yard. But I wanted to go inside. But I wasn't sure. I see a woman with a book by the thing. I wasn't sure if it was open to the public. And one thing I don't want to do is make a public fool of myself. So I play like I was outside, not wanting to go in for fear of being embarrassed. You know what I mean? Embarrassment is not a thing no more. Well, with Cara, it don't seem like if embarrassment was a thing, because other than the security stopping her, you know what else I could bet you? I think she called CNC. She said, hey, hello, you from the Express? Come. How the media reached so fast to see she climbing over the fence. This is something that if she wanted to do discreetly, she could have climbed over the fence, Napa big, Sapa big. You could have climbed over the fence wherever. You went right by where the entrance is. Call the media. Say, hey, come, excuse, Samson Nanton, are you a Samaru? Was just a sombrero? Come a minute. And you will call them with the camera. And then you're going to jump the fence. I want to know what would have happened if you did land hard. But, listen, when you're a legend in this life, which Basdeo Panday was, it's legendary for people to want to storm your funeral. You know, imagine, you know what Karen Nunez Texeira was thinking when she pulled up by Sapa?
Whoa! Look at people! You make me wanna...
feel we need an next Bajan invasion, so the music will get up to our standard. But my grandmother always used to say, a fool bad, but an old fool worse. You turn yourself now. I can't believe she do that, honestly. And who the next one named Hamel Smith behind? You could see he didn't want to do that, so you go on following woman. You know what I mean? You instead of you put her in front of her and say, nah, I good. I outside is no problem. You go, and she pointing out because I think when she land, she accept that she's a member of the public and pointing out, look, even my senator, come on. This is when you must always be aware in life when something is not about you. And when something is not about you, don't go there and make it about yourself, You know that she's one of them people who is invite them to a wedding and they come and propose or divorce and fight in your wedding. You know what I mean? It's not about you. Hold a little back seat. And, come on. Anyway, I'm moving on to something else that started this year in the weirdest of ways, right? And a little bit of foreign news for a change. Long time I ain't talk about what's going on out there in foreign, right? Oh, let's see Cat Williams destroy the whole internet to study, yeah? I went back and I watched Pimp Chronicles. If you had time and you're into stand-up comedy, go and watch Pimp Chronicles and we'll understand why Cat Williams is easily one of the funniest people in the world. But Cat Williams, for anybody who was following, went on Club Shay Shay, which is Shannon Smith, a old Titan, from one of the best Titans ever from where he was, Baltimore, Ravens. And he have a podcast with sometimes with Ocho Cinco, sometimes he talk to guests and so on. And that man had a podcast with Cat Williams, which is one of the single funniest things and most controversial. How much he reached? I think it's 40 million views in just a week. I think it's a week old. So if people following them types of interviews, right? Birdman on the Breakfast Club he had about 10 million or 20 million. This man done pass that, and Birdman must be 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and this man done bypassed that. Talking about Kevin Hart, talking about Steve Harvey. Most Cedric the Entertainer. I don't think Shannon Sharp asked a question. He must have asked one question and then Cat Williams talked for about 3 hours, and it was impressive to see. But more than that, the stand-up comedy that Cat Williams is some of the funniest stuff ever. And I went back to it and taken some of them over the week. And I had to tell you, over the Christmas, I had checked off one of my bucket list activities. One of the things, well, you have a bucket list. Like you have a physical list of things you want to do before you pass away, before you head out, before you decide that at the end. Well, one of my bucket list activities was, I told you all that early in December or middle of November, I went with some partners in the Hard Rock Cafe in Hollywood, Florida. Which part that is? Somewhere in Florida, somewhere outside of Miami, to see Bill Burr, right? Bill Burr to me is one of the greatest comedians they ever had. And in going to that and experiencing that for the first time, seeing Bill Burr and Dean Del Rey, one of the best nights of my life with some good friends and, good company and good show. I go and see tickets for the great Dave Chapelle in December. So I wanted to tell you, check off one of my bucket list activities. And I went between the Christmas and the New Year's to see Dave Chapelle live in person at the Hard Rock Cafe in Miami. It's one of the best experiences of my life. I done hearing Mr. Lucis in my head talking about the 1% thing. Go and post your 1% thing. It's 1% in this podcast is 1% in this. For the next 15, 20 minutes, let me save you that comment, right? But I went, it cost my pong and a crown. I ain't lying. It was very, very hard. Of course, I didn't get tickets off the gate. I had to get them at resale value. It was very expensive. And I had just come back from Miami too, so I had to get a long face home. People taking, my partners just take a minute all in. I had to get a long face home and so on. But we went and we saw Dave Chapelle live and in person. Donnell Rawlings was opening for Dave Chapelle, who I also love. Donnell Rawlings have a Netflix special coming out in February. I can't wait to see that. Donnell Rawlings is easily one of the most funny people. So if you go to Dave Chapelle now on Netflix, you will see a special called The Dreamer. That was the show I was able to go and see in person. No. The one that he did on Netflix, that was done in DC, right? That was recorded in DC. But that is the material that he was touring. So we went, it came out on the 31st of December. We went a couple of days before that. So it would be the last days of the tour. And then he released it on Old Year's Day. And if you haven't had a chance yet, go and watch Dreamer because it is Chapelle is one of the greatest to me, right? I have Dave Chapelle and Bill Burr as 1 and 2 in any order in stand-up comedy. I love stand-up comedy. I always say the first thing when the first profession I remember somebody asked me what you want to do for a living. The first thing I remember saying was I want to be a comedian. So I love stand-up comedy. And I have those two guys as my top two. And in 2 months, in 2023, I was able to go and see both of them in person. So amazing experiences. Thanks to my friends, my guys, Edmundo, Osmundo, and Juan for coming along. You know what I mean? Them fellas and them soldiers. You know what I mean? It was ill-advised. It was expensive, but we do it anyway. One life to live, right? What the man say, what Michael Tejo say. One life to live, I had to live it, you know what I mean? I needed a runaway and I take the runaway and I went. And I want to tell you about that show, right? First things first, Donnell Rawlings was the funniest on the night. It was gut busting how much you laugh when Donnell Rawlings was on stage. Way funnier than Dave Chapelle at the time. So if you find the Dreamer good, you have to see Donnell Rawlings when he comes out in February. I'm not sure if the material he was doing that night will be in his Netflix special, but I hope it is because it is ridiculously funny. And if you don't know Donnell Rawlings, I can be the guy one who used to say, "I'm rich, bitch." That's him, right? A terrible impression, right? But he was real good. He might have done about 20 minutes. Then a DJ played for a while and Dave Chapelle came on. Now, what you saw on Netflix or what you're going to watch on Netflix is the same material that was done on the night we were there. But it's not the same Dave Chapelle that was in the night he was there. Because I want to tell you that Dave Chapelle was very drunk and very high when he came on stage, right? I was talking about Manning and Panday being orators. Dave Chapelle is one of my favorite orators. I don't think he's the funniest guy in the world. But he's the best storyteller I ever come across because he tells the most benign, like ridiculous stories that it clearly made up. It's clearly he's making this up. It's not like if he's just talking. And somewhere in there, have a punchline that's ridiculously funny. Sometimes very, very obvious, and you still didn't see it coming. And even when he talks about serious things, like when he do 7 minutes about George Floyd, or he talk about him trying to get back his special from Comedy Central, his Chappelle show from Comedy Central, and again Netflix to partner with him to get it, to help him negotiate to get back his rights to his show. He's roping in completely with stories, and I saw it live on the night, how quiet the arenas get when he started to tell stories that's sung in serious. And one of the worst things it has is you ever meet somebody who you don't know if they're joking or they're serious? Like everything they say is like they're talking like they're serious, so you don't know if they're serious or they're joking. It's hard to figure them out, you know what I mean? Chapelle is definitely one of them people, but Chapelle was very drunk and very high. As an orator, you don't be fumbling over words and slurring your words that much. He was all over the place. I want to say that it wasn't a great show and it was not a great experience. I'll tell all you. As much as it was a bucket list thing, and I'm very, very happy I did it. I'll tell you that I'm not going to do it again. I'm not spending that kind of money to go and see Dave Chapelle. I find, as much as I love Dave Chapelle and he's an icon to me and he's the best to ever do it, I find you have a responsibility to your audience, right? And one of your responsibilities is to land the plane. You can't make people show up like that. Spend, travel. It's Airbnb, it's money, you know what I mean? It's expensive to get there on the night. And then you're inebriated. It's not your best. I don't like that. I find you had to come and give me the best show I could possibly get. Seeing Dave Chapelle would be once in a lifetime type stuff. So I was talking about this with Beyonce while we were in Miami, right? I was telling you about this the other day. And considering going and see Beyonce, when you get a chance to see greatness, you had to see it, right? But Beyonce only had tickets for $400 and something where you could only listen. You can't see the stage. And I admired like looking up Beyonce's show and how much night she was performing in different places because I'm thinking to myself, number one, you had to really take care of yourself. You can't get no flu, you can't get sick in any way. You had to take care of your voice, you had to take care of your body because she's dancing and doing a whole performance. And when you're doing 2 hours solid on a stage every night for weeks at a time, or you look at Usher, who do a Vegas residency. Usher gets slim, you know. You only watch Usher doing that and troubling people, woman, and all these kinds of things. Kiki Palmer in trouble and all these kinds of things with your man. That's hard to do. To be able to do that, you have to take care of yourself, make sure that you got a whole team around you so that you show up. Because while you're doing that every night, and it's like second nature to you and repetitive, and you could do it on autopilot, the person who paid to come to see you that night, that is a once in a lifetime moment or activity or bucket list thing for them. So you can show up drunk, forgetting the jokes, mixing up the punchline. You sit down on the stool and nearly halfway fall off. And listen, those are not even the reasons I'm not going back, because to tell you the truth, seeing Dave Chapelle drunk and high on stage is good enough. Like, just seeing him, I good with that. And if he wasn't, he kept saying this is not going well because it wasn't as funny as he had planned it to be. It definitely wasn't as funny as what you're seeing on Netflix now. But even seeing Dave Chapelle bomb or get booed would be fun for me. You know what I really didn't like? The night before that. Now, when you go to these shows, there's a little thing called a yonder pouch, right? YONDR. You had to line up and go and get one of them pouch. You had to take off your phone and put it in the pouch, and the pouch locked. There's lock it with a little device, right? There's a little neoprene thing, but you watch everything. Any device, your AirPods, all them things, they take it out and they put it in that and they lock in it and they hand you keeping it, right? They're not keeping your phone. So everybody phone locked away. You cannot record, you cannot make a call, you can't take a picture. So I have no evidence that I was in this Dave Chapelle show. No modern day evidence. You know, in today's world, if you didn't post it, did it really happen? We have no evidence that we were there. But I like the idea of doing that. Number one, because them comedians edgy. Both, all of them. Dean Delray was edgy. Bill Burr, Donnell Rawlings, and Dave Chapelle. All of them very, very edgy and saying very, very egregious things, right? So recording that and putting it out would not have gone well. If you think there's backlash from Chapelle from that special, there's a joke compared to what it would be if somebody recorded that Florida show and put it out, right? It would be bad. But they lock away all this stuff. And then what I like about it as well is that it gives you an immersive experience where there's no texting, there's no checking your phone, there's no thing to check the time. You're just there with, 7,000 other people in the arena. But it's just, and for me, it's just me and Edmund and JP. We just there together laughing and having a good time. I like the under pouch thing because of that. It allows you to just forget everything else and just enjoy the show. This is all you focus on at that time. So it's undivided attention. Remember when I used to tell you that in primary school? I want your undivided attention. It make me feel like when I'm having lime home here and thing, I want some yonder pouch to buy. I wonder if you could get yonder pouch. You know what I mean? Because I had a birthday party here it was Stacy's birthday party last year. And it take a little while for parties to pick up when it only have a little bit of people. And one of the reasons in today's world is because everybody who come in, when you're feeling a little awkward about socializing, the first thing people do is go to their phone. So in other words, you're taking yourself away from the place rather than getting more into the place or doing the thing that you come to do. It's kind of weird. And I talk about myself too. I do it all the time. If I go out, it's socially awkward. I don't want to be there. I tend to pull out my phone and start using the phone and that kind of thing. Well, worse again, I like to put my AirPods in my ears and pretend me and there completely. I go in the gym, me making no eye contact with nobody. I just want to do my workouts and get out. But I like this immersive thing. So I want some yonder pouch. So don't be surprised if you come by me for a little lime and I'll lock up everybody's phone and force we to fet the way we used to fet when they used to have a song like this.
She gave me pain, now me whole body feeling better than ever.
She gave me one injection in my midsection.
I didn't have to pay. Then she gave me something and then me swallow.
Fever gone right away.
One injection in my midsection. I didn't have to pay. Then she gave me something and then me swallow. Fever gone right away. When you're coming back, Santa, when you're coming to give me a medicine.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I'm coming to make you better.
When you're coming back, Santa, when you're coming to give me a medicine.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I'm coming to make you better.
And she
I'm your doctor. I'm your doctor.
She took my hair. She took my there. She took my hair. She took my there. She took.
I just want to play some classics for you that not saying I drink a bottle of rum and I wind down low and I walk with my cooler any fat. I just putting that out there. The reason I'm not going back to Dave Chapelle show is because the night before we were there, somebody like they get in with a phone with that wasn't in the under pouch, right? Because if your phone was to ring in the show, if you have an emergency, you have to come out the arena, go back in front, and then there's unlock it, and you could make a call, and then to come back in, you had to lock it again. Me know what he do, but he ended up in there with his phone. And he was recording. And Dave Chapelle see him recording, talk about it, and walk off the stage, never to come back about half hour into a show that should be an hour and something. I not going back no Dave Chapelle show again. I don't see why. I understand his rant about it. But I think Dave Chapelle reached the point now where there's a couple of things. He so much into the craft and the art of talking and doing and saying whatever he wants and don't let nobody stop you and don't let nobody censor you and stuff, which is fine. But you get so caught up in that, that you will walk out on a show and make 6,999 people pay for the activities of one person. And I'm saying one person being the person who filming, which is not right, but also the people who are wrong him, who could have said, hey, don't film or call it out, which I don't know if I would have called it out either if I know you go walk off the stage and not come back and that's it. I can't get my money back. You know how much money it cost me to go to that show? And then it's the failings of your own people who outside supposed to be seeing about this pouch because apparently Chapelle is part owner of this yonder thing. So if your own people miss the phone, the man walking and film, I must fly quite from Trinidad to come there. When my wife was on vex already, I done leaving already between Christmas and New Year's to see a show, and then you could simply walk off the stage because you in like, what, is you a child? I need to understand if this man is a children or if he's an adult. That is not the way to handle that. Of course, if you get upset, you walk off, whatever, but come on, get the people the show, they pay for that. Not, I can't imagine, and I can't understand why it's not a big issue, but of course, when everybody else phone locked up, nobody can tweet that or put that on Instagram while it happened and show that, hey, I spent my X among the money and Chapelle walk off the stage. The other thing too is I saw the reviews about the Dreamer and they're not great. And part of the thing about the Dreamer is I remember at the closer, which I did a long thing on, go back to whatever episode that was, right? I talk about the closer being a special just before the Dreamer. And it was a masterpiece. But he ended that by saying he's not talking about trans people no more. He's not making joke about the LGBT community unless he know we both laughing. And then he do a whole special that was basically about the LGBT community and saying in the special that I don't need to laugh at you all. I was funny long before you all thought about this idea of man being a woman and so on. And apart from me feeling like that is true. There's no dispute in how funny Dave Chapelle was long before trans jokes, right? But it make him wonder, like, why are you still talking? Why he do a whole set about handicapped people, which was very, very funny, right? And it was a parallel he was drawing, basically, to say that, listen, I could laugh at handicapped people, but then the handicapped people will be upset. In other words, it's everything funny until it happens to you, until it's you dealing with it, which is all well and good. But I just find it was overdone. And if it is for the last 6 specials, that is our main topic. It's almost like now you could predict exactly what Chapelle will talk about. He goes about OJ, he goes about Michael Jackson, he goes about the handicapped people, he goes about some politicians. It's so, again, so predictable. And again, I still have him as one of the greatest to ever do it. But he ends up I see somebody describe it a way I agree with, where Chapelle starting to become an old man who's shouting at the clouds. You know what I mean? It's starting to make me wonder, like, when we're going to get back to the greatness that's just Chapelle, like just talk about other things. I don't think it's worth the hassle and worth all of it. And the last part, before I move on from this, the last part that I don't like is I remember him doing a long thing on YouTube talking about how Comedy Central robbed him and he was a child signing this contract under duress and they make him think and they were in control of his image and likeness through the universe, and all that sounded very oppressive to me and opportunistic by people who let a youth man sign a contract like that so early in his career. But the truth is also that he signed it and he was upset about it. He walked away from the 50 million, which we had to hear all the time now. I wonder what is the present value of that 50 million that he walked away from, because he should update it. We hear about that all the time. And he was talking about Comedy Central not wanting to renegotiate or come back to the table with him about Chapelle show, although they did way better than they expected to do with just 2 seasons and all that. And then Netflix got the rights to show the Chapelle show along with HBO. And he was thanking the people at Netflix for standing in solidarity with him and all that, and he helped him get back, and now you get back Chapelle show rights and you're feeling good and you're great. So I was real surprised to hear him saying that when we went, it's not on the Dreamer on Netflix, but while we were there in Florida, This man is talking about Netflix it's almost like Netflix oppressing him now. He's like, thank God this is final special with Netflix, and it's like, so you're seasoned. You're not a little child. I doubt you sign a contract. Now you could afford the best lawyers in the world. You have all the leverage in the world. And again, you're in a contract. It just sounds a little bit petulant and like a child. And to tell you the truth, I love stand-up comedy, but I'm really just there to laugh. I like that his laughs have some deeper meaning behind it. Like, it's trying to dissect Jay-Z rhymes. You know what I mean? When Jay-Z put together a song, it's take a little bit of thinking to hear where he coming from, or what was the angle, and double entendre and triple entendre and all that kind of thing. I like crafty writing and delivery in stand-up comedy. But when it gets to be too serious and I rant, I just want a little escape, and I want to watch that, and I just want to find it funny. And sometimes I don't know if he's joking, you know what I mean? Some of this thing with Netflix and who keeping him back and who oppressing him and that kind of thing, I mean, is enough. But anyway, talking about Netflix, there's something that I think everybody should take in as well. Netflix has a special called Captains of the World. I don't know if people do this for the sports folks, right? Captains of the World is one of the best series I see in a long time. And I'm a man who's only watch repeats, right? I looking to see what I see already, basically. When I saw the thing, this Captains of the World is basically following all the captains of the teams who win the World Cup and looking at it from their perspectives. I still have, I think, 2 episodes. It's just 6 episodes, right? But the cinematography, the storytelling, the fact that there's so many different languages they're talking, I hope there's something that FIFA and Netflix or whoever gonna carry it continue to do throughout, where you could follow what that dressing room was like, or what it was like on field, or hear from a man who missed a penalty, or what the coach response was. But most importantly for this series, what did the captain say, or how they were looking at it, how they were approaching the game, how they're planning to, what are they going to do about Cristiano Ronaldo, what are they going to do about Messi. Real good series on Netflix that everybody should take it. And I especially invested in it because I really want to see when our captain reached the, you know what I mean, I'm going to say Otis Whitley. Yes, I think I went back in time for a minute there. What's our captain now name again? The man playing fullback for Trinidad, not fullback, no, he playing centre back for Trinidad. I remember the name just now. But in other news that I want to make sure that we know, and the reason why I highlight in this captain series is because we're going to feature this in 2026. Because finally, somebody get it thing right. And Angus Eve has been reappointed as the coach of Trinidad and Tobago's national team on a 2-year contract. It was looking a little dicey for a while, you know. So TNT coach Eve gets 2-year contract extension from Haddad. We're excited for the future. Trinidad, this from Nunez Texeira by Lasana Liebert, I want to say. Trinidad and Tobago's men's senior team head coach Angus Eve will lead the Soca Warriors into the 2026 World Cup qualifying series after he was granted a 2-year extension by the FIFA-appointed Normalization Committee. The decision is an about turn on the Normalization Committee Chairman Robert Haddad's initial stance that the new TTFA board would decide on the future of the head coach. So sometime soon, I want to say it's in February, there's supposed to be elections that will replace Haddad as replace the Normalization Committee, and then we'll be back to having a president and have some more independence or autonomous decision making for our local football. Oh, look, you have it right here. Normalization Committee's tenure expires in March, at which point the TTFA is due to elect a president and board. As such, last September, Eve was handed a contract that expired in March. Haddad and fellow committee members Nigel Romano, Trevor Nicholas Gomez, after public lobbying by Eve and a positive string of results by the Warriors, announced fresh terms today. Quoted here, what Eve and his staff and the players have been able to achieve is commendable, Haddad told the TTFA media. The Normalization Committee's tenure is winding down, and we have been consistent with a cautious approach to the negotiation of contractual agreements with staff beyond our time. We met with Angus, explained our position, and discussed plans for the future. Angus has led the team extremely well, and we believe that we have been able to settle on a new agreement that is a win-win in the best interest of the association and Angus. It's critical that any agreement allowed for each party to be protected, said Haddad. And so the association has little or no risk of making missteps as in the past, which resulted in significant unpaid debts to coaches, team members, and suppliers. Presumably, TTFA membership would have to wait until they reclaim the reins of local football body before they could gauge the strengths of Eve's contracts. So, Eve there for the next 2 years. That's the long and short of the story. So it means that we are going to be there in the 2026 World Cup. The results that he's been getting over the last few tournaments and games, it looks promising. I find like we have a team that have some fight in them, and even when we're looking like we're in losing positions, we're able to fight and battle our way back, into games and battle our way into winning positions. We beat the States the other day. That is always a win, even though it's a losing effort. We beat the States, and we have a playoff in March, I believe, that could put us back in Copa America, or not back, but put us in Copa America for the first time. So Eve is quoted here saying, "I'm delighted to have the opportunity to continue to serve the country in a positive manner. Hopefully we can develop and harness the young talent that we have to give ourselves the best opportunity to qualify for another World Cup. We're excited for the future as we head into World Cup qualification, year." So this year you're going to see World Cup qualifiers coming out, and it will be the beginning of the filming of Trinidad and Tobago leg to be on Netflix, the Netflix Captain series, when we head to the 2026 World Cup. I like how Eve has been building the team around younger players. I was glad to see in an article recently as well, he highlighted the fact that Kevin Molino, who is a little bit of a sore point, you know what I mean? He gets squeezed out of the national team, or he get dropped, or he retire, or whichever one of the things you want to go with, right? And people like Jovan Jones, you know, that whole squad, Kalim Highland, I believe, was on that list as well. They're not featuring for the national team, and I feel them fellas have a lot of experience, a lot of skill, and plenty to offer the local game still. So I was glad to hear Angus Eve come out and say that, listen, them fellas and them could come in anytime. They're good to go in my books. Let me come and let me talk and let me merge the foundation players with the youths that we have. It's the most you could ask for. But we head into the World Cup. I just wanted to make sure that we put it out there. I could go back to the next song this year that I find bad too. I hate to harp on Farmer Nappy all the time, but I like him a lot. And this song is by GBM Neutral and Farmer Nappy. I want to say that GBM. So this song is not necessarily borrowing a concept that was around for a long time. But if you listen carefully to the bass line, you will hear something that you've heard before. And GBM Neutron is a very, very bad artist. I'm not sure how come his name never comes up as one of the top guys, most consistent, you know, solid hits every year, quality production every year. It's kind of strange that his name never coming up there as the best of them, when he's one of the best of them. So this is GBM Neutral alongside Farmer Nappy. Listen to the bass line, right? And tell me if it ring a bell.
Tune. Na. Watch your step. Hey girlfriend, go down in the center, go down in the center, go down in the center, go down in the center. This, early Juve morning, waiting for the sun to rise. Hey, mud down and a oil long, most likely I'm in disguise. GB, 1, now I wanna get on bad. 2, now I wanna jam in the center. 3, girl, away your pelted back. 4, I wanna jam on your bumper. When I get this feeling is cause trouble. Hey, let me start the bacchanal. Cock up your foot, put your 2 hand on your head. We come out here ready to run it red. I drunk with pride and I don't want to see no bed. Nobody can tell me to stop. Hey girlfriend, go down in the center, go down in the center, go down in the center, go down in the center. Farmer Nappy and GB come for them. Don't stop, move with the pace. Line up, girl, wind up your waist. Come, girl, I want to take a piece. When I get this feeling is cause trouble. Hey, let me start the bacchanal. Cock up your foot, put your 2 hand on your head. We come out here ready to run it red. I drunk with pride and I don't want to see no bed. Nobody can tell me to stop. Hey girlfriend, go down in the center, go down in the center,
go down in the center. I tell all I listen to real old music and real new music, and I keep landing back here.
Savage! Oh.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
I try. I really try my best. Where to go from here? Crime. Listen, it's getting harder and harder. I tell you now, getting harder and harder to come here and not talk about crime the whole time. You know, I saw a blogger from Barbados, somebody we should know. I remember the name of Babsy. If you know StrictlyBabbzys, you know what I mean. Babsy has been a commentator and a contributor to the culture for as long as I could remember. Or of course, from Bajans to talking about crop over and so on, but very, very influential in the carnival circles in Trinidad and so on. You know what I mean? Babsy's been around. So this is not a fly-by-night person saying this, right? So I want to read for you an Instagram post that she made recently. It's by StrictlyBabbzys. It says, over the last 2 weeks, I've been asked the question over and over again. 2 weeks ago, my answer would be different. Babsy, is Trinidad Carnival safe for me to travel to? 2 weeks ago, I would have said yes, but be careful. Right now, it hurts my heart and soul to say what I really feel. Anyone that knows me knows I wear the Trinidad and Tobago flag on my sleeve. I believe that to be very, very true. When you say Babsy, you have to say TNT. My second home, my second love in life. I even tell people I am from Maraval as a joke. But I also know you all look to me for the truth. Always. I never want to be a person that smooth things over and make it look good and then something goes bad. I just take things hard and want the utmost best experience for each and every single one of you. There's been crime in Trinidad and Tobago for a while now, and that was generally targeted. Not rightfully, but truthfully. Recent events where Trinidad artists and gang members are in a serious rivalry, Port of Spain is not safe. These men will roll up on each other anywhere they get the chance to. Large events, small events, it does not matter. The violence is on sight. These youngsters are reckless with no regards for human life. Innocent bystanders have lost their lives. These men are on social media lives laughing at who lost their lives and talking about who next. Keith Rowley does not have a grasp on this situation. He is literally like a deer in headlights right now. He has no plan and he has nothing implemented to guarantee safety at this time. You cannot tell who is in a gang from who is not. The man standing beside you buying a corn soup could be 6, 7, or 8. All these are gangs in Trinidad. Or all these gangs are all in retaliation mode right now. Had it not been for the recent slayings of some of them, I would not be as concerned. I don't want to impact Trinidad Carnival by any means, but I can't be dishonest and say that safety is a huge concern right now. No one is safe in Port of Spain, licensed gun holders or not. I would pass on Trinidad Carnival this year. I need you all to live long and be prosperous. I feel like I'm stabbing myself for saying this. That was a little violent, Babsy. I feel like I'm stabbing myself for saying this. But folks, I would pass on this year. No. This make it wrongs, right? Because everybody, of course, MYOB and the other blogs in Trinidad, Soca Watchers, and all of them repost this from Babsy. And the comments went wild. Like people saying basically every country have its crime and thing, and why you don't stay out of people's business. Only from Barbados have its crime, and people start to quote Barbados crime statistics now and talk about, you know what I mean? Almost as if she's saying something that's not true or something that all of us not thinking. I think she's spot on and she absolutely right on several counts here, because number one, I live in here, and I always talk about, you know what I mean, people who live in abroad, especially Trinidadians who live in abroad, ask me about the crime thing all the time, right? And I usually say, well, that thing, I mean, me involved in nothing. That's my usual response to thing. I say, me involved in nothing. Nobody ain't coming to shoot me. Me, I no set a thing for nobody to come to rob and so on, right? But I know you are like me, becoming more and more concerned about this crime situation. And it does not matter whether you're involved in 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. It don't matter. The reality is that, as Babsy rightly say, I could be just buying a little corn soup. I could be going anywhere, only doing anything anywhere. This is no longer a specific situation where you find yourself in the wrong area and people could say basically, well, what you was doing there, where you going up in them areas and lying for a man like you. it doesn't matter. It really don't matter. It's wherever, whenever. I think she spot on to when she say, and she might be limiting it to this Trinidad thing. And I don't think it's just that. I think there are a lot of things that Trinidad might be a reflection or representation of it, and some of it is about the artist. But some of it I hear, and for the first time, me don't know who is none of these people. I see Monk Lambert, big in the junction, and shoot out, man, dead, and fever. And a woman bawling, or I walk backward for me. Don't know these people. I don't know none of these names, so I will not know. And she talking as a Bajan, right? She joking and saying she live in Marval. I'm from St. James, right? St. James here. And I could tell you that me ain't gonna know if I next to Fever buying a corn soup. Fever look like a normal youth man to me. I don't know who he is. And I don't have no training in what to do when shots start a fire. Or drop low and run a zigzag. I don't know what to do. I am not trained in this thing. My first thing might be to freeze or to panic or to get low. You know what I mean? And suppose I get low and the rest of my family ain't get low. What will happen? So when I hear somebody like this, again, not unsolicited advice, I want to be clear that she is somebody who is in and around carnival, and not just Trinidad carnival, every carnival, in and around soca music, and the quintessential Caribbean person. When you hear somebody like this saying something, that's not the time to clam up and say, well, why is she saying, what is she talking about? Why is she talking? That's not the time to clam up. That's the time to listen. Because if that is how we being seen, and our, I would say, number one export outside oil and gas, or number one export, because we don't want the oil and gas. One of the most important things, our economy, our culture, our identity, and so on, is under threat by people who have no concern or care for what it is. I want to go as far as to say they're too young to even understand the long-term ramifications of what it is they're doing. They're living for today. That's one of my biggest fears. You're looking at people who don't see more for their life. Them just see their life as what it is. You sit down on a block right through. Well, you could go and see Dave Chapelle and watch him walk out and so on. They have so much to live for. Your children could pass for nice school and go on to be nice things, and your children could be prime minister. And you know what I mean? I'm not sure that they have this bigger vision for life as a whole. Because to me, if you have a bigger vision for your life, you start to value not just your life, but you start to value other people's lives. I always remember learning Maslow hierarchy of needs. All you remember Maslow? We could go into lecturing mode for a minute. Maslow have a hierarchy of needs, right? This psychological theory, Maslow was trying to write about what motivates people, what causes people to act, what gets you going in a certain direction. And he said it have 5 levels of needs. He drew it like a pyramid, right? The first level is physiological, meaning the needs of the body. And what Maslow's saying is that when your body needs something, you're motivated to act towards that. In other words, if you're hungry, sometimes you're hungry and you can't afford. They tell me something about intermittent fasting. Well, I'm nearly dead. As I say intermittent fasting, like I can't study nothing else but food. I so hungry. When I watch it's only 9 o'clock, me I'm supposed to eat till 2 in the afternoon by a bus or a subway. You understand? Maslow basically saying that if your body is tell you what you need and your motivation going to head in that direction, you're going to be focused on what to eat. He basically saying the next level is what he calls safety. So in other words, as humanity, once you figure out what you're eating, the next thing will be is to protect it. To protect your source of the physiological thing. So the food, water, shelter, clothing, and so on, that's the physiological, that's the body needs. The next thing you will look at is safety needs. You want to protect and preserve these things, right? So you have to go back down to that level. The next level is what you call love and belonging, right? So he basically saying that, right, now you know you're getting your food, you know it's safe, now you start to want to love and belong. So you're starting to see life as more than just your own selfish and innate needs, right? So in other words, things like friendship, family, community, groups, and so on, you want a sense of connection to the people around you. After that, you have something called self-esteem, or what you used to call esteem needs, right? So esteem needs is about you starting to become your higher self. So you're looking at your confidence level, what achievements you make, respect for others and community, your uniqueness as an individual, and so on comes as esteem needs. And then the pinnacle of this little triangle is called self-actualization. When you start to recognize like what your calling is, what is your purpose, what is the meaning of your life, how do you impact the earth. So people, when you're looking at self-actualization as being what Maslow called the highest self, then you start to think about legacy, and you're living for your last name and not your first name, right? So Maslow had that hierarchy, and it's a very real thing when you look at what Babsy talking about with these youths, and my fear with these youths, right, is that they seem to be focused on what Maslow called lower order needs, which is the physiological needs and the safety needs. They are basically, and Maslow was talking about those two being lower order needs, and the next three, the love, the esteem, and the self-actualization as being higher order needs. And he was basically saying that if you are focused too low on this pyramid, you start to become a danger to yourself and society, because you don't focus on tomorrow, you don't focus on the other people around you and realize that they are part of your achievements and so on. So you have a Trinidad movement. To isolate it to that, right? You have a Trinidad movement that could be so great in a global sense, but you all need each other to make it work. You can't think that the other people on the other side of the thing is your enemies and you kill off the whole genre, and then you stand alone and you're not big enough to carry a genre by yourself. Although I'm questioning that when Marshall say he not coming out for Carnival and like the whole genre fall down. I don't understand. I'm questioning that a little bit, you know. But you're not big enough to carry it by yourself. You need rivalries. You need the competitiveness. These are things that are very, very important in building what you think you want to build. And Babsy didn't say this, but coming out from what she said, I starting to wonder if the Trinidad thing is about music at all. But more importantly, the youths, the females, the one who may know me, I'm frightened to call the name too. The ones who may know their face, may know their name. Who is to say I know just farmers market by the savannah, you pass and you get something. The other day, they have a new little spot open in Chaguanas. They were like Church's Chicken, like a new little plaza open. And I wanted to buy something and I sit down in the car park, they eating and something to me, boy, you don't eat here, you know. Head down the road. Yes, I don't know that I'm any safer if I head down the road and I come home and eat. But I didn't feel good being in that car park because I just tell myself, suppose one of them pass now and the next one of them see them. And them just trying to open up on the highway, on the byway. Them don't care who there. Them don't care who pass. As Babsy said, them discussing this on live after, you know. We think and we shoot. And the next one say, yeah, boy, you mess, all that thing. And little girl, 17, how old she is, 19 or some kind of little child, coming from one of them fete, I think it's Tri-Bice in the stadium, or one of them, whatever fete it was. Shoots out Arpita Avenue, the after party spot after fete. Ba 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 ba. He gone, or he in hospital or whatever, she dead. And I seen people talking about the girl choices and she was living fast. I don't care. I don't care about none of that. The fact that we living in a country where people comfortable opening fire in broad daylight or broad nightlight, and whoever get catch, and who dead, one dead on the highway, you going about your business, you dead, because them try to shoot one another. The man who them try to shoot still living now, I have people to bury. I don't know what kind of society we living on at all. And as much as I come here to talk about the culture and I come here to talk about the music, I love when it reach Carnival time I can talk about that, but I think Babsy right. For all of we who live in here and want to take the chance in Carnival, we have to live, right? So I don't get nobody wrong who playing mass, who going fete are in the same boat, right? And I don't know that they going to fete any safer than or more dangerous or less dangerous than going to church or going to school or going to work. It's just random. And for the randomness of it, if I was seeing something like this, God forbid, in beautiful Barbados, I wasn't going. The response to this is more worrying, right? Because I don't think, you see, I try my best not to come on Rowley and Erla and them up the place, because them, as much as we need a response from them and we need drastic responses from them, they, and even Fitzgerald, they're not themselves responsible for crime. They're not doing the crimes. It's not them who's shooting up randomly. But in terms of the systems and the policies that will prevent people from feeling comfortable doing these things, we're dependent on them to make changes. Also, in terms of drastic changes, where, because see people going for state of emergency, they say put the army on the street. I'm not sure. I don't know enough crime statistics to know what does work and what don't work, and if something is just a show. And I don't know. But at this point, let me start the show. Because let me tell you what not going to work, right? Erla Christopher quoted as saying, appealing to citizens, help us save lives, right? Police Commissioner Erla Christopher yesterday appealed for help from the public to bring down the country's high murder rate. And you see the murder rate being used as a proxy for crime. I understand the idea, right? If you could stop people from being murdered, it'll look better for the statistics and all them kind of thing, or if you could prevent them things. But public shooting is not necessarily murder. Like you say, nobody dead. We had to stop the brazen crime and the brazenness with which people feel they could take vengeance or take. We had to stop that. We had to, the house, man, kicking in the door. I saw somebody right in Shoguanas here. Going in the man hardware. These is people working hard. Them have a business. Going in the hardware, beat up their grandfather. The people ain't open back their hardware yet. How that could be? How that could be? What kind of society we have? And then what we gonna do? Jam people on the road Monday and Tuesday. I know it feels so odd. I can't help but to agree with Babsy. She quoted here saying, "Help us save lives. Let's determine together. We can do it for 2024." She said in her New Year's Day message released on social media. Erla Christopher said that the TTPS accepts the public criticism but also welcomes its support. She pointed out that 576 murders recorded in 2023 was down from 605 in 2022, but it was a decline with which she's not satisfied. While the reduction of 5% can be considered small, if the converse were to be true and there is an increase in the same margin, of the same magnitude, there would be no hesitation in pronouncing on the increase. Yeah, I know. Similarly, if there's an increase in the same magnitude, we should be likewise unambiguous in acknowledging the decrease. Okay, we acknowledge it. We credit the small but noteworthy decrease in murders that we have been successful in achieving. I don't even want to read no more of this to tell you the truth, no? Because I think the gist behind the article, or the gist behind what she's trying to say is she need the public help and we need to all rally together. All that is true. But when things happen as callous and as brazen as they happen, these responses feel like if nobody don't. I like how Babsy put it. Babsy said Rowley don't have no handle on this situation. It feels like the powers that be don't have a handle on this situation. I wonder if they know the situation going on at all, because I'm watching the 576 as a thing, right? Which I suppose they might have watched the statistics and work on that. What I want to watch is, was the metric for how safe I could feel to sit down and eat chicken in churches in the car park? Let me keep that as a metric. Is there a way to check that? We could. Is there a way to check that? I want to see how safe people feel in generally. Or was the metric where I could open my hardware in peace and just run my thing? Or a little grocery, I call them Chinese Spanish on the main road. Them and them is an important part of the little community we live in here. You have to go in there and get a little thing when you're on the moment, and then when you're on your way home, you'll pass for bread, right? Anybody else go through that? So you have to be worried now because them get robbed the other day. Them had to put a big menacing security man in front there to try to deter or prevent people from robbing the place. These people doing up, they serving the community. These businesses serving the community. This attitude we have in Trinidad that them have money and them rich, and that's why I like to come here and talk about that 1% thing, because I feel like our attitude generally to somebody who invests $1 and turn it into $1.50, we are contemptuous of those people as if they do. So from the time they do that, they're wicked, they're selling drugs, they're exploiting people. You know how hard it is to take $1 and turn it into $1.50? And to do that for 50-something years or 100 years, and then now it turns into a big business. But while you're doing that, you're employing people, you're investing in the community, you're giving to charity, you're giving to the church. I don't know if people see that. So I'm not saying that we all criminals by saying the 1% this and that, but we have a general contempt for people who do business or make money or have a high salary, and is reflected in the crime situation, because it seems to be culturally okay to kick in a man door and beat you and take what you have, or just run in a grocery. And I know that we don't accept it, but again, because of the attitude towards it, it's almost like we go ahead. Once it ain't me. That is the attitude here. Next article. Police Commissioner Erla Christopher has once more placed her faith in God to turn the country's crime surge. But my grandmother again, she used to say God has helped them who help themselves. You had to pray and you had to act, right? She said, we know with God's grace and with his help, we'll succeed. The tides will turn again and we'll see the success. In other words, I find when you make statements like that, them things sound like hope to me. Them things sound like if you hoping is 522 next year and is our next 20% decrease or whatsoever it is. But thing running wild and man feeling unsafe in their own place and them kind of thing. Why we had to be like that? I had to catch myself when you travel too, because when I traveling, last place we stay in to go and see that Dave Chapelle show, The place had no fence. Like it had no wall around it. It's just in the open. The back is a big canal, and in the front it's open. And I find myself when I sleep and I frighten because I tell myself, but I travel with that dog, not realizing that you're in a society where nobody interested in kicking down your door to come in by you and them kind of thing. The incidents of these things they're not high at all. But anyway, I don't want to turn this into a crime thing. I'm trying my best not to turn this into a crying episode every week. But I tell you all too that I'm getting closer and closer to it as we go along, because we can't continue to come here and pretend like nothing is happening. We and almost throw our hands up and say, well, here what's going on. God will take care of it. You know what I mean? Let we just pray and let we ask the public to help we and them kind of thing, and it will come out in the wash. At some point in time, everything will be okay. And I want to highlight as well that while Erla Christopher is talking about the public helping her, no, I don't want to say helping her, right? The public helping all of us with the crime situation. I think that one of the things that she had to focus on as well is how the people who are hired under her stewardship, what they're doing for where crime concerned. What can we look forward to from them? I'm talking about the police now. Is there anything that we could look forward to with the police, who are also a part of our society, but who charge the responsibility of at least responding to crime, if not stopping it in the first place, right? What is there any reasonable expectation we can place on them? And I'm asking that against the backdrop of this little voice note I want to play.
Good morning, WP.
Hi, good day. My wife called this morning, probably about 2 hours ago, to report a home robbery. We had called the E999. They said that they would call the station, but nobody else has called us as yet.
Okay, so what you all doing? Staying down home and waiting for the police to call all you? You don't know where the station is?
Excuse me?
Do you know where the station is? St. Joseph Station.
Yes.
So why you all don't come in and make a formal report?
Thanks, man.
I want to say that in the words of my little brother Stefan, right? That man is the most patient man in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to give him my next round of applause. So that's a voice note that went wrong. I'm sure you will hear it by now. Not a voice note, a recording of a phone call, right? With this man calling in. Put yourself in this position, God forbid, right? You have a home invasion, a robbery at your house, right? And you call in the police. This is where you're supposed to call in. This is the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do would be to pull out your puya and go and look for them and put yourself in more problems. The right thing to do is to go and look for the police to intervene in this situation, quantify what was lost, this, that, see if you could get the people, get back your things and whatsoever, right? That man do that and call. Nobody in call back, nobody in come. And then call back the station. And this is a police officer who giving him, that's the response she have for him. So I suggesting to Erla Christopher, right? Now I hear disciplinary action was taken and they sent she took her to work and so on. You know what I mean? Good looking young girl. And when I hear this, I think it's some old person who done fed up with the work. And say, young girl like you're supposed to be more pleasant and more understanding. What kind of training them doing? Nobody helping them to understand what is their role and what their job really is. But she get transferred and them kind of thing. But I want to suggest to Erla Christopher, those who in power, that while we praying and you're asking the public for help and things, these are some of the problems that you all had to work on solving. You had to be, whether you, it's only two ways if you have a staff, right? It's either you select the right people or you train the right people, and more than likely you had to do both, right? You had to put the right people in the right positions and you had to give them the tools to be able to do the job through training and development and so on. Like, do more of that. Help them. This is a young girl. She could get help. She could be much better as a police officer. You're interacting with the public. I'm sure she must be fed up here. Crime call. I understand what the police going through to be. If every minute of the day you hear this one thing and this as a house robbery, and especially when it are shooting on the highway, you might be watching these things as minor matters. But you don't understand that somebody going through this for the first time, the society going crazy in terms of these types of things. And the poor fellow. And again, most patient person in the history of patient people. But again, I just want to go back to my grandmother was saying, yes, that you could pray and all them kind of thing, but you have to pray and act. Because God has helped those who help themselves. Now, what I would like to do for you now is play a song from this year that is related to that statement. But I couldn't find none. I don't want to be in a society where the people in power and the people who are in charge stop making the attempts, right? So hear this.
Life ain't easy, life ain't no bed of roses. It's so hard to succeed, so contrary, so depressed are the stages to get the things that we need. All these conflicts and obstacles come to stay. Man must stand it, he can never run away. Time to stop the crying, try a little trying. To achieve it the only way. That's why I say stand up, even though you're falling. Wake up and get you something. Don't stop. You gotta try and do what you're doing. Yes. Until you see the light. Don't let it out your side. Don't cry. You got to try. Little progress calls for much dedication, plenty hard work and grind. In your conquest, you have got to understand. Keep your goal in your mind. Don't fall over, let your limits be the sky. Those who conquer are the ones who make a try. You must have a strong will if you're climbing up the hill or stay in the gutter and die. That's why I said stand up, even though you're falling. Wake up and get you something. Don't stop. You gotta try and do what you're doing over until you see the light. Don't let it out your side. Don't cry. You got to try.
Hey, I leaving all with some Johnny King, you know, because Johnny King song too sweet to leave alone.
All man strive to be happy. Relentless search for luxury, in search of peace and happiness. The human mind wouldn't rest. A constant nag within we soul, demanding respect from the world. We get the urge in different form, but luxury is the norm. Money is very essential, but can't buy peace of mind at all. We still like dogs without a bone if we have the money alone. Because appreciation plays on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because importance, if we are drive to live, everyone's on the hunt. Every man ought to give generously.
If you're in a Johnny King kind of mood,
A week but I'm holding on in order to stay around in a life terribly imbalance. For it is nature's way until judgment day. Weakness ain't got a chance. Playing strong cause I realize the price little one must pay to keep the big one in paradise. This torment and misery all day. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the meek must understand. This day of the strong man is the devil's day. So they will right the ground when the master plays.
What you say? We're running through them fast, you know, but it's forever music.
You know I love you, baby. You're the best. Finding a good woman took a long, long time. You are the only woman who blew my mind. All other women use me and run away. You are the only woman who came to stay. Oh baby, I finally found a wife. Since you came into my life, you have me hypnotized. I'm in paradise, so I don't want no other woman but you. Darling, not how you look is the things you do. Darling, I don't want no other woman at all. Darling, I dreamt of a good woman ever since I small. Darling, I tried Laura, she got me. I tried Carla, she got me. No contest. You are the best among the rest because you are honest, faithful and true.
Darling, I'm from a musical director, you know, I like it. It wasn't planned to be a Johnny King episode, but the point I'm trying to make with tune like this, where I'll close off with, so I'll have a good week, I'll have a safe week. Stay away from everywhere where I shoot it, right? Try your best, right? Don't be in the mix-up of 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 and take Babsy advice. But I want to leave only with this piece of Johnny King, which again is one of the biggest songs it ever had for any carnival ever. And it's not, you don't have to sing rum and all the thing. I mean, reaching the fat and everything and make up your face. And every song this year, song in the same. Every year this year is how much you drink and how much you think and you dress up nice and who wind down low and who TikTok. Oh Lord, all you could find a little team to sing about and give you something, give you a little story, give you something to hold on to. Give you a little forever song now. All you want a little forever song to go with? Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
You know Chili's like the party, you know Chili's like the fest. You're playing social. You start off on philosophy, till now you can't move up yet. If you continue on that you'll regret. Take a bet, got a lot of fans, but we getting fed up. The woman said to me, you got to mix it up, cause carnival is jam non-stop. Jam your song, Johnny. The atmosphere real hot. Cool down my body. You see much should stop.
Speed it up for we.
Leave me on the go. Wet me down, honey, all night. Let me feel right. When the tongue on fire. The rhythm you jamming must make me perspire all day. Let we break away when it's time for fun, honey.
Hey, I will see you all in next week. Have a safe week. Have a productive week. I want to tell only the original reason I late this week is because TNTech playing with me, right? Don't let this fool you. I don't really have no current. I'm still waiting on TNTech to come at me. Where them know when they reach?
When it's time to free me body, carnival is in the air. Don't sing me no sad song.
Padam, 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 pam, padam.
Seriousness does make me guilty. For messages I don't care. Cause my drink is fat, whiskey and dare. Be aware, in order to stay on top and maintain your airplane. Give it more energy for we to dingo-lay. Cause carnival is jam non-stop. Jam your song, Johnny. The atmosphere real hot.
Cool down your body.
You see much to stop.
Always speed it up for me.
To keep me on the go. Wet me down, honey, all night. Let me feel right. When the tongue on fire.
The rhythm you jamming must make me perspire
all day. Let we break away when it's time for fun, honey.
I said, honey, wet me down, wet me. I said, wet me. Hey, only reach home safe and only home. Have a good week. Have a productive week. I will talk to Ole again next week. Between this week and next week, I'm going to look for more songs from this year to play. But I have a sneaky suspicion I could end up right back here. Next verse.
We respect your heavy lyrics. Everybody love your songs, uplifting and laid back. But too much respect your critics. We think that the timing's wrong. When it's action time, put that in the song. Turn it round. Pull back the serious ones and release them. Yeah. You got to make the groove to suit the atmosphere. Cause carnival is jam non-stop. Jam your song, Johnny. The atmosphere real hot. Cool down my body. You see much too slow. Feed it up, honey. To keep me on the go. Wet me down, honey, all night. Let me feel right. When the tongue on fire. The rhythm you jamming must make me perspire all day. When we break away. When it's time for fun. Honey, wet me down.
I will see you all in next week. Bye.